Folks, welcome back to the Bobby Bo Show. In this episode, you'll learn every chess opening without having to memorize any moves. Most beginners think that they're losing because they don't know the right openings, but actually, they don't understand what makes a good opening in general. And when I started playing 3 years ago, I played a lot of tricks and traps because I could memorize how to win. But if you want to get good, you have to understand how to think about what makes a good move. And it starts by moving one of the pawns in the middle, either the D or the E pawn. And now you control some center squares, and also your queen and your bishop can come out. And that's the first two chess opening principles: center control and piece activity. And you'll see why these are important. But first, I'm going to show you the next move, knight to f6, and I'm not moving the black pieces yet because I only want to show you general opening principles. So in a real game, you'll have to react to their moves, but knight f6 is a good move for a couple reasons. First, you want to castle as fast as possible, so you have to get your knight and your bishop out, and also it's generally better to get your knight out before your bishop. And you can just take my word for it, or you can try it for yourself and figure out why. But now the bishop's out and you can castle, and we have two more opening principles: king safety and knights before bishops. Also, your pieces are more active than they were on their starting squares, like this bishop is blocked off, cannot move anywhere yet. So we will develop that soon, but knights first. So knight to c3. Now if you want to get the bishop out, you have to push the pawn. So pawn to d3 or pawn to d4. And d3 is good because it creates a solid pawn chain where all the pawns defend each other here, and the pawn defends the bishop. But d4 is more aggressive because now you control the entire center, and you might be able to push one of these pawns to start an attack. But they will also be fighting for center control, so you'll have to react to them too. So it's situational, but in general, anytime you can put two pawns in the middle, it's going to be good because you're controlling a lot of space, and your knights and your bishops can come up. We'll talk more about that later. But now you can move this bishop out, and really you can move these bishops to any safe square. But in general, you want them on long diagonals, like bishop to f4, long diagonal here, controlling a lot of squares. Maybe the c7 pawn becomes a target, maybe a rook on c1. And that's the kind of stuff you think about, like giving your pieces a lot of space to move to, or lining them up with important targets, like bishop to g5, lined up with the queen here. So they can't move this pawn yet, so they'll have to block with the knight. And that's the kind of stuff you do in the opening. And when they castle here, this bishop will be on this long diagonal, lined up with the king. So line your pieces up with potential targets, and as long as you're getting your pieces out to active squares, it doesn't really matter exactly which square you put it on, because it's going to be more active. And now you're almost done with the opening, but don't start playing chess yet, because you have to bring all of your pieces in, and most beginners forget to use their rooks. Two of your most powerful pieces, and they get stuck in the corners here. So bring your rooks into the middle where they're more useful before you do things like move your knights twice. So I'll bring my queen up so that my rook can come over. And you'll notice I don't move my queen until my king is safe and my other pieces are out, which is another mistake that a lot of beginners make, because your queen is your most powerful piece. So you think you want to bring it up and attack with it, but it needs to be supported by your other pieces first, because it's going to be vulnerable if you don't have your other pieces supporting it. But now that the pieces are developed, the opening is over and you can play chess. And if you played a good opening, you'll have better center control, more active pieces, and you can look for weaknesses to target. And controlling the center is important because if you put a piece in the middle of the board, then it can go to any other part of the board to attack. But if you have a piece in the corner, then it can only move to two squares. So in general, it's just better to have your pieces in the middle because you have better access to the rest of the board. And when you have your pieces working together in the middle, they can work together to attack weaknesses in the other person's defense and win pieces or checkmate. So to summarize everything, good chess openings create piece activity. Active pieces can attack more squares and work together with other pieces, and you will have more piece activity if you control the center, because you have easier access to the whole board while also preventing them from coming to the center, which weakens their piece activity. Make sure you develop your knights before your bishops and castle for king safety as soon as possible. Finish development before moving your pieces twice, and make sure you bring your rooks to the center or to an open file if a pawn moves. And don't move your queen too early or it will become a target. You need all of your pieces to work together in order to have a successful attack. And once all of your pieces are developed and your king is safe, the opening is over and you have to decide how to play the middle game, which is to look for a weakness and try to attack it. And one thing I might look at is my rook on this open file right here with my bishop lined up on the c7 square. Obviously this is not a real game, but if you want to see a real game and you want a good opening for beginners and masters too, check out my tutorial on the Queen's Gambit, where you'll see this type of thing, or you can watch this video of my best Queen's Gambit games. Thanks for watching the Bobby Bo Show. Smash the like button for more chess lessons. You forgot to subscribe, but I still hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Goodbye.